Look at this cool Flappy Bird clone game project, guys. I built this using Godot 4 engine, right? Very cool. And I also built another project, and is a ping pong game, right? So let me skip this. Right, very cool. Look at this. So I also built this using Godot 4 engine, right? Pretty basic one, but this is definitely a good project for people who want to be a game developer, right? So you can see everything from the basic perspective, and it's going to teach you like the fundamentals of game development that you need, right? Hello guys, welcome to my Udemy course. Welcome to building action games with Godot engine. This is basically an extensive project-based course where you'll be guided step by step on how to build a dynamic action survival game from scratch using Godot engine and potentially build a sustainable passive income from selling the game on online marketplaces. This course will teach you on how to build and design games without having to know extensive programming skills, as Godot engine has a visual scripting feature that allows you to do drag and drop objects. In the introduction session, you will learn the basic fundamentals of Godot engines. You'll get to know technologies used behind Godot and also its main use cases. Then continue with a full step-by-step tutorial on how to install Godot engines, tutorial to navigate Godot dashboard, as well as exploring all features available on Godot. Afterward, you will also be shown a couple examples of games created using Godot engine, and we're also going to go over all potential game ideas that you should consider to build. To make the learning experience even more complete, this course also comes with the projects where you will be guided step by step on how to build an action survival team games from scratch using Godot engine. Once the game has been built, we'll be conducting testing to make sure that all features have been fully functioning, and most essentially, the game has a friendly user interface from the player perspective. In the testing session, there will be three main objectives that need to be tested. Those are functional testing, performance testing, and user experience testing. Lastly, at the end of the course, you will also learn effective marketing strategies that you can implement to reach more potential audience to play your game, as well as get to know several marketplaces to sell your games like itch.io and Steam. First of all, before getting into the course, we need to ask ourselves this question: why should we learn building games using Godot? Well, the answer might be pretty obvious to some people. This is one of the best platforms that you can utilize to build and design games without having very advanced programming skills. Other than that, there are still many other reasons why. Godot engine has been well known to offer a comprehensive set of game creation tools, including a visual scripting system, 3D modeling tools, terrain editors, and animation tools. Not only that, Godot also provides social features that allow users to connect, collaborate, and engage with other players and creators. Users can join communities, participate in events, share feedback, and form friendships within the platform's social ecosystem. Last but not least, Godot supports multiple platforms including Windows, Mac OS, Linux, iOS, Android, HTML5, and still many more. It provides unified development environment that allows developers to create games that can run seamlessly on different operating systems and devices. Hence, when it comes to compatibility testing for the game that you built and designed using Godot, most likely it will pass without any issue. Well, we have gone this far, guys. I've explained a lot of things about this course, but almost forgot to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Chris, and I've been creating more than 40 courses on Udemy. Previously, I worked as an IT consultant for the last couple of years before deciding to resign from my job and start running several online businesses like dropshipping, affiliate marketing, and selling digital products, including selling online courses on Udemy. Regarding Godot engine, I have been using this platform for quite a while to build a variety of games. Besides that, I also played several games that were built using Godot, and I really like them. Last but not least, my intention behind creating this course is to teach people who are passionate about games and have ambitions to build and design their own games but do not have very advanced programming skills and knowledge to be able to turn their imaginations into reality by utilizing Godot engine to build their own game, to build their own dream game, right? So yeah, guys, that was brief introductions about myself. Once again, welcome to the course. I'm so glad to have you here. I'm so excited to have you here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the course. In this video, you're going to get to know more about the table of content of this course. So in this video, I'm going to explain things that you're going to do, things that you're going to learn in each chapter. And as you guys can see here, in total, we have 12 chapters in this course. So hopefully by the end of this video, you're going to have general understanding about things that you can expect to learn from each chapter. Alright, so let's begin, guys. Let's talk about the first chapter here, whom this course is intended for. So in the first chapter, we're going to answer this particular question, whom this course is intended for, right? So I'm going to explain my intention behind creating this course. I'm going to explain type of people who might be interested in this course. Obviously, if you're interested to build your own games using Godot engine, this is definitely the right course for you. So we're going to talk about that more in the first chapter, right? And let's move on to the second chapter, tools and resources. So in this chapter, I'm going to provide you with a list of tools and resources that we're going to utilize to build our game, to design our game, and also to get some inspirations about the game that we're about to design in this course projects. All right, so that's chapter 2. Let's move on to the next one here, the third chapter, introductions to Godot. So in the third chapter, I'm going to introduce you to Godot engine. For those of you who are already familiar with Godot, feel free to skip that chapter. However, if you're not really familiar with Godot, make sure that you stay in chapter 3 and pay very close attention to things that I'm about to explain there, right? So I'm going to explain the basic fundamentals, the basic concepts of Godot engine. Also going to explain like all technologies involved. Also going to explain its use cases. All right, so you're going to get more familiar with this platform. And in the next chapter, chapter 4, it's going to be like full step-by-step tutorials on how to install Godot engine to your device, right? So just for your informations, I'm using MacBook, so obviously the operating system is going to be Mac OS, right? And I totally get it. Some of you might use Linux or Windows. However, don't worry. The installation process is going to be extremely similar. So if you pay very close attention to what I'm about to show you in that chapter, I'm pretty sure that you're not going to see any problems. All right, so it's just going to work the same for Windows and also Linux, right? The process is going to be almost exactly the same. Just make sure that your internet connection is stable, because definitely it's going to help you a lot if you have stable internet connections, right? So yeah, that's chapter 4. Let's move on to the next one here, chapter 5, navigating Godot dashboard. So once we installed Godot, we're going to do a quick tour to see things that are available on Godot dashboard. Just try to make ourselves to be more familiar with Godot dashboards. Alright, and chapter 6 is kind of like continuations of chapter 5. So we're also going to learn all, maybe not all, but most important features available on Godot. Because there are like many different features, but I don't think we're going to utilize like every single one of them. So obviously it's going to be better if we just concentrate on features that we'll use a lot, right? The features that we will use frequently. So yeah, that's chapter 6, exploring Godot features. Let's move on to the next one here, chapter 7, showcase of games built using Godot. So I'm going to give you several different examples of games that were built using Godot, right? So the intentions of chapter 7 is to give you kind of like inspirations to see like how powerful that this platform could potentially be, right? Hopefully this is going to motivate you even more to learn about this platform, because you already knew that, hey, actually you can utilize this platform to build very cool games like what I'm seeing right now. So obviously you're going to be more motivated, right? You're going to be more motivated to learn Godot engine. So yeah, that's chapter 7, showcases of game built using Godot. The next one here, chapter 8, I'm going to give you like several different game ideas to build. So sometimes you're stuck, you're so excited, you really want to build your first game using Godot engine, but you have no idea like what type of game that you want to build, right? So I'm going to give you like 6 different ideas that you can consider to build, right? That's chapter 8, and chapter 9, it's actually going to be like the most essential part, the most essential component of this course. So I'm going to guide you step by step on how to build real game projects, right? So I'm going to guide you step by step on how to build and design game from complete scratch using Godot engine, right? So there will be like 3 different games that we're going to build. And the next one here, chapter 10, testing the game. So once we build those games, obviously we're going to be conducting testing to make sure that those games have been fully functioning, all the features have been fully functioning the way they're supposed to be. And also we're going to assess the quality of the game from the perspective of the player, right? So it's very essential to make sure that the game is easy to play, the game is comfortable to play. So we're going to review it, we're going to test it from the perspective of the player, right? So we're going to try to position ourselves to be on the player's shoes and then see it if there are things that could be done to improve the game's quality or something like that. That's chapter 10. Let's move on to chapter 11. So we're going to talk about monetizing and marketing your game. So obviously you already learned a lot these skill sets, these knowledge to build game using Godot engine. Obviously you want to monetize your expertise, right? So we're going to talk about several different online marketplaces like itch.io and Steam, where you can sell your games. And also, once you listed your games on those marketplaces, how to get people to buy your games, right? So we're going to talk about effective marketing strategies that you can implement to reach more audience, reach more people to notice your game and potentially purchase your game, right? So that's chapter 11. Let's move on to the next one here, chapter 12, which is the last one, conclusion and summary. So I'm going to just summarize all things that we've learned, and I'm also going to share a few tips and tricks on how to build high quality games and also how to potentially monetize and build a sustainable passive income from this side hustle, right? So the way I say it is kind of like a side hustle. Like you build the game once, you build the product once, and it can be sold for many times. That's the reason why I think building and designing game and then sell it on online marketplaces is definitely going to be a very good and brilliant idea to generate you like very sustainable passive income, right? So yeah, that's going to be the last chapter. I think that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video, guys. Bye. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the course. In this video, we're going to answer this particular question, whom this course is intended for. So based on my analysis, there are 3 types of people who might be interested in this course, and those 3 types of people are also my main target students for this course. So let's talk about the first one here, game developers. If you are one of those people, if you're game developers or you're planning to be game developer in the near future, this is definitely the right course for you. Congratulations, you're in the right place, guys. So people who are interested to learn game development, people who want to learn how to build and design game using visual scripting feature, this is definitely the right course for you, because that's exactly what you're going to learn in this course. Here in this course, you're going to be guided step by step on how to build 3 different game projects from scratch using Godot engine. And the good news here, you don't need to have very advanced programming skills or knowledge. You don't need to have very advanced C++ programming skills to be able to build your own game, right? That's good news. Because guess what? Godot engine will enable you to do visual scripting, which basically means to build your game, all you need to do is to drag and drop features or functionalities to build up your game, right? Which is very cool. So that's the first one. Let's move on to the second one, tech entrepreneurs. So if you're entrepreneurs who are interested in building and selling game as digital products, this is definitely the right course for you too, guys. Because guess what? Actually, based on my personal experience, building and selling game online is one of the best side hustles that you can potentially start, guys. Because it's going to be like very sustainable passive income, right? Think about this. When you're building a game, you only need to do it once, right? And once you list it on marketplaces, for example, like itch.io or Steam, it can be sold for many times. It can be sold 10 times or even 1,000 times depending on the quality of your marketing strategies, right? If you have very good marketing strategies, obviously you're going to see a lot of sales. But if you don't really have a good marketing strategies, then most likely you're not going to see a lot of sales. So it really depends on your marketing qualities. But the concept here is very great. Just think about this. You only need to do it once. You only need to build and design the game once, and maybe do regular updates. But that's going to be relatively like very minor stuff, all right? But the only like the main work is going to be once, and it can be solved for many times, maybe 10,000 times if you're really good at it, right? So obviously it's going to be a very sustainable passive income. It's going to be very sustainable business that you should consider, guys. All right, so that's the second one. Let's move on to the third one here, gamers. So if you're gamers, if you play games a lot, if you have always been passionate about video games and you want to learn how to build you want to learn how to build your own game, this is also the right course for you. Because guess what? If you've always played video games, but you're kind of curious to know and to understand how game development works from the back end perspective, that's what you're going to learn exactly in this course. So you're going to be able to see it from two different perspectives. As a player, as people who play the game, that's the first perspective, but also you're also going to see it and analyze it from the perspective of the game developer, right? People who build the game, people who design the game. So yeah, definitely it's going to be a very complete experience for you to have. All right, so I think that's it, guys. That's all you need to know. I'll see you guys in the next video where I'm going to introduce you to all tools and resources that I'm going to utilize to build our game projects in this course. So I'll see you guys there. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the course. In this video, I'm going to provide you with a list of tools and resources that you can utilize to help you building the game projects in this course. So let's begin with the first one here, godotengine.org. This is actually like the main tool that we're going to utilize, so just click on it. Alright, so I'm just gonna click on this link and it will take me here to Godot Engine official websites. As you guys can see, Godot Engine is completely free. Alright, so don't worry, you're not going to spend any money, you're not going to pay anything here. It's going to be totally free, all-in-one cross-platform game engine, alright? And you are capable of building 2D and 3D games using this platform, alright? So just click on download latest. As you guys can see, 4.0.3, this is like the latest versions. And by default, this is Mac OS versions. Reason why, because I'm using my MacBook, so what you're seeing here is Mac OS. But if you are on Linux or maybe you're on Windows, I think by default, what you should see here is supposed to be Windows versions, right? To download it, just click on this button, all right? And make sure that you have very stable internet connections, all right? But we're not going to download it in this video. We're going to do it in the next couple of videos. So we'll get there, all right? So if you go to features, you can see all features available on this platform. We're going to get into more details in the next couple of videos, so please wait, we're going to get there. And if you go to blog, you can see like many different activities happening here. And if you go to community, all right, just click on community. As you guys can see, there are like many different forums that you can be involved with. All right, so for example, if you want to ask questions, or you might want to ask any questions related to Godot engine, right? You might need help, you might be stuck, and you might need to find solutions for particular problems. Then you might want to consider coming here, right? And if you go to about sections, as you guys can see, there are all important informations about these platforms. You make sure that you read the code of conduct, right? Make sure you understand the policies. Make sure that you pay very close attention to the restricted conduct, because you don't want to get into trouble, right? What else? Yeah, I think that's it. So let's go to the second link. All right, so just go back to the slide and then click on the second link. It will take you to the game assets library. All right, as you guys can see here, there are like many different assets. So for example, if you need like some of these assets, you can download it. Just click on the assets that you want. For example, I want to download these assets, or maybe these ones. I'm just gonna use this as an example. All right, so just click on it. And as you guys can see here, there is a download button. So just click on it if you want to download it. All right. And before downloading, if you want to see the files, you can click on view files, so you can get like the general overview about the file, so what it looks like, something like that. So that's how you do it. It will take you to GitHub. All right, so let's go back. On the left side of the screen, you can also see like the filtering system. All right, you can select based on its category. For example, you only want to find 2D tools. All right, so just click on 2D tools, and you can also set the support level. For example, you want the assets for testing, just check the testing box here. All right, and if you want to match your assets with your Godot versions, just choose which Godot versions that you have. For example, you have like the latest version, which is version 4.0. Just click on 4.0. And also, if you want to filter it by its license, you can do it too here. All right, so yeah, that's how you do it, guys. If you want to search, just click search. Very easy, very straightforward. All right, that's how you do it. Very straightforward, right? And as you guys can see, when you see like 4.0, something like that, it represents the versions, right? And 2D tools, it represents the category. And the green one here, which says community, it represents the support level, right? So yeah, that's how you do it, guys. Very straightforward, right? So let's go to the third tool. So I'm gonna click on the third tool, pretty long link. It will take you here to the documentation page for Godot engine. All right, you don't necessarily need to read every single sentence here because it's going to be total waste of time. All right, so what I recommend you to do is simply just to skim through it, make sure that you read all the important components of these articles. All right, and every single time you are stuck or every single time you have questions, you might want to go back here to the documentation page to see if there is any answer to your questions, or if there is any solution to the problems that you're facing, right? And not only that, these documentations can also be used as your tutorial. All right, so as you guys can see, for example, we are going to click on creating instance. So if you need tutorials to create instance on Godot engine, just click on creating instance and just read this article. It provides you with full step-by-step tutorials on how to do it, how to create instance on Godot engine. Very complete explanations, all right? But don't worry, in this course, you're not going to need to read like the whole thing here. Instead, I'm just going to show you step by step on how to do it, all right? Very easy. Okay, cool. So that's the third tool. Let's move on to the next one here, marketplace. So I'm just gonna click on the first link, which is itch.io. This is one of the largest marketplace for people to sell their game products online. Not only games, but you can also sell game assets or game avatars on this marketplace. All right, so it's pretty large marketplace that you should consider if you want to sell your game products or your game assets. All right, we're going to talk more about it in the next couple of videos, so we're not going to get into very detailed explanation in this video. And let's go to the second link. It's called Steam. So this is another online marketplace where you can sell your game products here. All right, very large marketplace. I think when it comes to size, when you're comparing itch.io with Steam, Steam definitely wins, guys. All right, so if you really want to sell your game and access like one of the largest marketplace with hundreds of thousands people coming every month, or maybe more than 100,000, maybe like 1 million people coming every month, then this is definitely the right place. All right, so we're going to talk more about this. We're going to discuss more detailed about this platform, this marketplace in the next couple of videos. So please be patient, guys. We're going to get there, right? So yeah, I think that's it. That's all you need to know about tools and resources that we're going to utilize to build our game projects. All right. I think that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video where I'm going to introduce you to Godot engine. So I'll see you guys there. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the course. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to Godot engine. For those of you who are already familiar with Godot, feel free to skip this video. However, if you're not really familiar with Godot engine and you want to learn more about this technology, about this platform, make sure that you stay in this video and pay very close attention to things that I'm about to explain here in this video. So the first thing that you need to do is to ask yourself this question: what is Godot? What is Godot engine? Well, it's basically all-in-one platforms for building 2D and 3D games. So if you go to Godot engine websites, godotengine.org. So yeah, as you guys can read here, the Godot engine is a free all-in-one cross-platform game engine that makes it easy for you to create your 2D or 3D games, right? So if you go to features, as you guys can see, this is just a couple examples of games that you can build using Godot. All right, just a couple examples of what the game look like. And if you scroll down a little bit to the sections, main features, as you guys can read here, you can build your game from simple blocks. You're going to be able to use building blocks called nodes to create more complex and reusable scenes. So let me give you an example. Let's say you want to create another scene that is very similar or that is very identical to the scene that you already created previously. You don't have to recreate new scene. Instead, you're going to be able to reuse the scene that you already created, right? Which is great. That's definitely going to save a lot of your time. Definitely that's going to save a lot of your efforts, right? So yeah, very helpful. And you can also create data-driven elements with custom resources, but keep in mind that this feature is only applicable for the latest version, which is 4.0. So make sure that if you want to access this feature, you have to install like the latest version, which is 4.0. So let's go back to our slides. I'm going to do the slideshow, right? So let's move on to the second part, which is technologies. So I'm going to mention and also explain technologies behind Godot engine, all right? So obviously there are more than these three technologies involved, but these three are like the main important components. So let's talk about the first one here, C++. So Godot engine is primarily developed using C++ programming language. However, the scripting language used for game development within Godot engine is called GDP script, right? Which is the second one here, which is a Python-like language. So the syntax is actually very similar to Python, right? It's not exactly the same like Python, but the syntax is very similar to Python. Therefore, if you're already familiar with Python programming language, it will not take too long for you to learn GDScript, right? Due to the fact they have very similar syntax and also very similar structure. And me personally, since I've written Python code for 3 or 4 years, so it didn't take me too long to understand GDScript, right? It was pretty easy and straightforward for me to learn GDScripts. But don't worry, even if you are not really familiar with Python programming language, even you have no idea how to write a single line of code in Python, don't worry, you're still going to be fine. Due to the fact that this language is very simple when it comes to its structure, so obviously it's going to be relatively easy for you to learn, right? So don't worry, there is nothing that you should worry about. Let's talk about the next one here, OpenGL. So when it comes to rendering, Godot uses an advanced rendering system that supports both 2 dimensions and 3 dimensions graphics, right? It utilizes OpenGL ES 2.0 and 3.0 for rendering graphics on various platforms. Additionally, it also supports shaders, allowing the game developers to create custom visual effects, which is great, right? For some game projects, that's not necessary, but for others, it might be very necessary, right? Might be very relevant feature. Right, so let's talk about the next one here, visual scripting editor, right? Or in other words, drag and drop feature. So you don't have to write like very complex codes, right? So instead, you're just going to do drag and drop, which is relatively easy to understand. So yeah, Godot Visual Script Editor provides a node-based interface where users or game developers can create game logic by dragging and connecting nodes. And node represents various actions, conditions, and functions that can be combined to define the flow of the game. That's amazing, right? You don't have to write very complex algorithm or very complex code. Instead, you're just going to utilize this amazing feature where you can drag and drop all the logics and yeah, just connect them and build a beautiful game. All right, so um, that's the reason why I think Godot engine is very user-friendly platform, especially if you don't have very advanced programming skills. Godot engine is definitely the right choice for you to start, right? But again, if you still want to learn how to be a game developer, I still recommend you to learn how to program though. But if you're just beginner, you just want to start, maybe using Godot is definitely going to be a good option for you, right? Let's talk about the next one here, Godot engine use cases. So there are three main use cases. The first one is pretty obvious, game development. Right, so the primary use case for Godot engine is game development. It provides a comprehensive set of tools, features, and a user-friendly interface that allows game developers to create a wide range of games, including 2D platformers, RPGs, puzzle games, and even complex 3D games, right? So there are like many different types of games that you can potentially build using this technology. Let's talk about the second one here, prototyping. So Godot is often used for rapid prototyping of game ideas. Its intuitive visual editor and scripting language allow game developers to create quickly, iterate, and test game mechanics, gameplay elements, and visual effects, helping them refine their concepts before full-scale development. Right? So, if you're game developers and you want to be conducting testing, right, or just have several different ideas that you want to be testing, you can utilize Godot engine to accomplish those goals. And let's talk about the last one here, game jams. Well, Godot is a popular tool for participating in game jams, which are short-term events where developers create game within a limited time frames. Its lightweight nature, flexible workflow, and extensive library of pre-built assets allow participants to quickly prototype and develop games during these intense game development challenges. So yeah, it's kind of like competition for game developers, um, where they're going to be competing with each other, building pretty basic or simple game projects, right? It's not going to be like a month-long competitions. It's going to be relatively like short period of time, and yeah, Godot engine is well known to hold that kind of event occasionally, right? So yeah, I think that's it. That's all you need to know, guys, about Godot engine. I really hope you're going to be more excited after learning all of this, right? So I think that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video where I'm going to guide you step by step on how to install your Godot engine to your device. So I'll see you guys there. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the course. In this video, I'm going to guide you step by step on how to install Godot engine to your device. Alright, so as I mentioned previously in the previous video, I'm using a MacBook, so obviously my operating system, my OS is Mac OS. But even if you are using different device, maybe you're on Linux or maybe you're on Windows, don't worry. Just pay very close attention to what I'm about to do here. The process to install Godot engine on Linux or on Windows is going to be relatively the same, right? It might not be exactly the same, but the process is going to be extremely similar, right? So just make sure that you pay very close attention. And if you have any questions, just let me know in the comment sections and I'll gladly help you, right? I'll gladly help to answer any questions that you have. All right, so let's get started. Just click on this link. All right, actually I already have it open here. So as you guys can see, I'm on Godot engine. The first thing that you need to do to download Godot, just click on download. As you guys can see, by default, this is the Mac OS versions. if you're on Windows, I'm pretty sure the one that you're going to see here is going to be Windows versions, right? Or depending on your operating system. So yeah, to download it, just click on this button. Actually, I already downloaded, so I'm not going to download it, but just to show you like the tutorial, so I'm just gonna download it. All right, as you guys can see, it's going to be completely free. So I'm just going to cancel it since I already downloaded it. All right. So yeah, make sure that you have very stable internet connections. It didn't take me too long to download it. It only took me like 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah, around that, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. So make sure that you have very stable internet connections before installing your Godot engine, right? Okay, very cool. So now I'm just going to show you how to set up your Godot engine, right? So I'm just going to click download and just gonna open it here, show in folder, right? And I'm going to drag that to my desktop, so it's going to be easier for me to show how I install it. So just double click on the zip file, right? So now it is processing, just wait. All right, very cool. As you guys can see, this is the icon. Actually, I did it twice, so I'm just gonna delete this one. All right, so as you guys can see, this is the icon of Godot engine, right? So this is like the shortcut, so I'm just gonna double click on it to open it, right? Okay, cool. So just click opened. All right, so now it is opening the Godot engine. As you guys can read here, you currently don't have any projects, which totally makes sense because we just installed this program, right? And this is the first time we open this program, so obviously it makes sense. We don't have any projects. And would you like to explore our visual example projects in the asset library, right? Don't worry, we're going to do it in the next video. We're not going to do it now, so I'm just gonna click cancel, all right? Okay, so now you can maximize the tab. This is the local projects. This is the asset library projects, right? So if you go to asset library projects, there are many different assets that you can install, right? Depending on the need, depending on your game projects that you're building. Okay, so congratulations, you've just installed Godot engine to your device, and we're going to do a quick tour to navigate through this dashboard and try to make ourselves more familiar with all features available on these platforms in the next video. So please be patient, we're going to get there. Alright, so I think that's it for this video. Just make sure that you've already installed your Godot engine to your device. If you have any problem, if you have any questions regarding the installation process, just let me know in the comment sections, and I'll try to do my best to help you. I'll try to do my best to answer any question that you have. Alright, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys. What's up guys, welcome back to the course. In this video, I'm going to give you a comprehensive tour on Godot engine dashboard, and also we're going to be exploring all features available on this platform. So as you guys can see, right now I have my Godot engine open, so just double click on this icon, just double click on this shortcut, and then it will open this tab. As you guys can see here, we don't have any project yet. We haven't created any file here, so it makes sense if you don't see anything here. All right, so if you go up here, you have two options, local projects and asset library projects. So if you want to add assets, you want to get Godot assets, then you can go to this tab. But for now, we're not going to do it, right? Because we haven't even created our first project yet. So obviously, we're not going to stress too much about these assets. Maybe we're going to do it later, right? We're going to utilize some of these assets in the project, but not now. So in the local projects, you can filter the projects, but since we haven't created any files, so obviously we don't have anything here. You can also sort the project with the last edited, which is like the most recent one. You can also sort it based on the name or also the path. All right, on the right side of the screens, you have these versions. All right, the versions of your Godot engine. As you guys can see, this is like the latest version, which is 4.0.3. And you can also change the language. For example, if you're not native English speaker and you're more comfortable to use different language, for example, German or Spanish or maybe Hungarian or whatever language that you have. They have many different languages available here. Okay, but I'm just gonna stick with English, all right? And on the right side of the screens, you have a couple different options here to create new projects. Just click new projects, all right? And if you already have your file, if you already have your project, you can import your project. You can also scan file. And since we don't have any projects yet, so it totally makes sense if you guys cannot edit or run or rename or remove because you haven't even created the project in first place, right? So yeah, but once you already have your project here, you're going to be able to edit your project, you're going to be able to run your project, rename or remove your project. All right, so let's create new project for the first time here on Godot engine. So I'm just gonna click on this button, new project, and as you guys can see, the first thing that we need to do here is to name our project. So I'm just going to name it as project 1. Actually, we're not going to create our first game project in this video. This is just going to be introductions video. It's going to be like a comprehensive tour on the dashboard. So I'm just gonna name it project 1. It doesn't mean anything. We're not going to build anything here. I'm just going to show you like all features available on this platform. All right, and you can also select the project path. For example, you want to save it on your desktop or whichever folder that you want. So I'm just gonna click browse, and I'm going to click desktop. All right, and I'm going to click allow, and I'm going to save it on Godot folder, right? So that's where I'm going to save it, and just click on select current folder. So when I save the project, it's going to be located here on my Godot folder, right? So make sure that when you save your folder, it's well organized so you don't forget like where you save it. Okay, and down here you have like 3 different options. As you guys can see right here, the first one we have forward plus. So forward plus is a rendering technique in Godot that optimizes real-time dynamic lighting by dividing the screen into tiles and efficiently culling lights that don't affect certain tiles, resulting in improved performance and more realistic lighting effects. So if you're planning to build 3D game projects, then you should utilize the first options here. And the second one here is mobile. So Godot offers specific tools, APIs, and optimizations for mobile platforms, for example, like Android or iOS. Considering their limited resources and unique requirements, this included touch input handling, accelerometer support, screen resolutions management, and mobile-specific performance optimizations to ensure smooth and efficient mobile game development. So if you want to build mobile games, whether it's for Android or whether that game project is for iOS, then go with the second options, guys. All right, so that's the second one. Let's move on to the next one here, compatibility, which is the last one. So in Godot, a compatibility renderer mode or setting prioritize running games on older or less powerful hardware but reducing shader complexity, disabling certain visual effects, or using simpler rendering techniques. This ensures that game can be played on devices with limited graphic capabilities, maintaining performance and compatibility across a wide range of devices. So if you are planning to build a game project for relatively like older devices, maybe you have a very old laptop and you're not really sure if that old laptop or that old computer is going to be able to handle very advanced graphics or resolutions, then you might want to go with the third options, right? But for now, I'm just gonna go with the second options. Okay, so I'm gonna go with mobile. Let's say, just for example, this tutorial is for building a mobile game, right? We don't really care whether it's for iOS or Android. We're just gonna stick with mobile options here. And for the version control, let me pull this a little bit up. You can change the version control. By default it is set to good, but you can also change it to none. All right, so yeah, to create your first project, just click on this button, create and edit. All right, so here we go. So I'm just gonna click create and edit. Okay, so now it is creating our first Godot file, first Godot project. So as you guys can see, this is the dashboard. Don't panic, guys. I totally get it. There might be like many different things that you have no idea about, but don't worry. As you guys can see on the top here, we have 4 different options. The first one is 2D. So for example, if you want to see your game project from 2 dimension perspective, then just click on 2D. If you want to see your game project from 3 dimension perspective, then click 3D. So yeah, this is very similar to what you see on 3D editor software like Blender, for example, where you have like XYZ plant, right? And if you go to script, there's nothing here because we haven't written any script yet, right? So script is going to be like a code, but don't worry, it's not going to be very complex code. Actually, the logic is going to be relatively simple to understand, so there's nothing that you should worry about. But for the script, since we haven't added any script yet, so it totally makes sense if you don't see anything here. And on the assets library, this is the one that we showed you previously, but we're not going to utilize these libraries for now because we haven't even created our project yet. So just ignore asset library for now. So yeah, let's go back to 2D. It's totally up to you. Maybe you want to see it from 3D perspective. Just prefer to do it from 2D perspective. And as you guys can see here on the left side of the screens, you have scene, right? So when you're building and designing your game projects on Godot, it's going to be consisted of several different scenes, or maybe many scenes, right? Depending on the complexity of your game. So to add scene, all you need to do is to click this button, 2D scene. For example, if you want to create 2D scene, just click on 2D scene. If you want to create 3D scenes, then click 3D scene. All right, so now I'm going to create our first 2D scene. So I'm just gonna click on this button. All right, so you can rename it, just double click on it, and I'm going to name it as first scene, right? So that's going to be the name of the scene. And you can also save it if you want to. So if you're on Mac, just press Command S at the same time. But if you're on Windows, then you need to press Control S at the same time. So yeah, you can name it whatever name that you want. So in this case, I'm going to name it as first scene, and this is the path where you save it. All right, so automatically it's going to be saved inside your project folder, right? So yeah, let's do it. So I'm just gonna click save. As you guys can see here, we already have our first scene edit down here. Okay, very cool. So as you guys can see, the name also changes here. So we have first underscore scene. All right, so very cool. As I explained it to you previously, when you're building a game project, it's going to be consisted of several different scenes, and in one scene, it's going to be consisted of several different nodes. All right, so if you go to this button, just click on it. So as you guys can see, there are like many different options that you can choose. And also up here, it says create new node. So if you want to add node to your scene, just pick whichever that you want to add, right? And please guys, do not be overwhelmed with many different nodes options available here, because when you're building your project, most likely you're not going to use every single one of them, right? Maybe you're just going to use 3 or 4 of them here. So do not expect yourself to understand like every single node here on the list at once. It's going to be very overwhelming. So just learn step by step, all right? So if you just place your cursor on the node, it will show you like the explanations of what this node actually does. For example, like this one, Windows. So I'm just gonna place my cursor on Windows. Okay, so it's base class for all Windows, all right? And next one here, sub viewport. If you want to create a sub view into the screen, but actually, just to be honest with you, when you're building your game projects, there are only three main nodes that you're going to be frequently using. So the first one here is node 2D, especially if you're building 2D game projects. You're going to use this a lot. And control for, and down here we have control. So it's all user interface nodes inherit from controls is going to be like a button for your game, right? Maybe like a start button or a quit button. So you're going to use control. And if you're building 3D game projects, then you're going to use this a lot, right? Not 3D. And the rest are most likely to be like complementary nodes here. For example, animation player if you want to animate your objects in your scenes. You also have animation tree, audio streamer if you want to add audio to your game, then you're going to utilize this. Multiplayer spawner, for example, if you want to add multiplayer options to your game, then you might want to utilize this. What else? Timer, right? So if your game is going to be time sensitive, then you're going to utilize timer to help you to time the game, for example. So yeah, but you're not going to use every single one of them. So my recommendation is just to focus on these three, right? Or maybe if you want to create like 2D game projects, just focus on no 2D. Don't overwhelm yourself, all right? So yeah, I'm just gonna click cancel. So we're not going to create a note in this video. And if you go up here, as you guys can see, this is run button. So if you click on it, this is how you run your project, right? So just select current, and yeah, you're running your Godot game project right now. But as you guys can see, we haven't added anything, we haven't created any node, we haven't added any node to our scene. That's the reason why you see nothing here, right? It totally makes sense. So let's go back to our node, our Godot. I'm sorry, not node, it's going to be Godot. All right, so if you go here on the right side of the scene, as you guys can see, we are on the first scene, and you can do settings here. For example, if you want to set the visibility, you can change the settings. If you want to, you can also change the ordering, the texture, the materials, the process. You can also like add descriptions here, right? So for example, if you're working with more than one game developers, then obviously you want to make sure that this game project is well documented, so your counterparts or your partner is going to be able to understand like what's going on here. So it's going to be very useful, it's going to be very helpful if you add, you know, additional descriptions explaining what you're doing here, right? Okay, I think that's it for this video. In the next video, we're going to create our first node. We're going to add our first node to our scene. All right. Please do not be overwhelmed. Do not expect yourself to understand like, every single thing here, because it's going to be too overwhelming. It's definitely not necessary, right? And down here, you have output, you have debugger. For example, if you want to debug your code, you have audio. When you're adding audio to your game scene, animations. If you're working with animations, then you might want to click on animations to see the output, and also like shader editor, right? So yeah, I think that's it. That's it for now. I'll see you guys in the next video. What's up guys, welcome back to the course. In this video we're going to continue Godot engine tutorial. So we already created our first scene in the previous video, but we haven't added any node to our scene. So in this video I'm going to show you and teach you step by step on how to add your first node to your scene. And for this tutorial I'm going to use button as an example. All right, so we're going to add button to our first scene. So let's do it. Just click on this icon. All right, and if you go to node 2D, so just click on it. search for button. Let me see, where is button? But if you don't see button, if you don't find button, just type in button like this. Right, cool. So you have like several different buttons options. For example, like the regular buttons, you have check button. Usually when you're playing game where you can like turn on or turn off particular feature, you can use check button. What else? You have color picker buttons, you have menu buttons, you have option buttons, you have link buttons. So usually if you want to take your player to like different link, then you might want to utilize this. If you want your player to choose several options, then you can go with this. If you want to provide menu and you want your player to choose, then go with menu buttons. You also have texture button here, but I don't think we're going to use this very often. So yeah, for this tutorial, I'm just going to utilize the regular buttons. So as you guys can see, the description says the standard theme button, right? So just click create, right? Okay, cool. So now we've just created our first button. So we've just added our first node to our first scene. Okay, so as you guys can see, the button is very small. It's very hard to see, but it's right here on the top left of the screen. All right, so your job here is to make it a little bit bigger, right? So we can add text to it. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is to name our button. All right, so I'm just going to name it as stop button. Well, actually, you can name it with whatever name that you want. Maybe start button, right? Or maybe quit button. Totally up to you, right? Depending on what you want to do with this button. But for this tutorial, I'm going to use quit button as an example. Or maybe stop button. So stop button as an example. Okay, so now we have added text to our buttons. So now we're just going to make the size a little bit bigger. And I'm going to place it on the middle, so it's going to be easier for us to edit the button. All right. Okay, cool. So now we have stop button. Yep. So yeah, we just created our first button here. We have just added our first node to our scene. So make sure that you save it. So I'm just gonna type. I'm just gonna type command S. All right. So just save it. Make sure you save it. If you're on Windows, then just enter Control S. Just press Control S. Okay, cool. So if you go up here to the left side of the screens, as you guys can see, you have button under the first scene. So it means that this button has been added to your first scene, right? Okay, very cool. So I think that's it. We've just created our first button. In the next video, we're going to add logics to our button. So we're going to connect this button. We're going to integrate this button with the scripts, right? So that's what we're going to do in the next video. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. What's up guys, welcome back to the course. In this video, we're going to be adding logics to our buttons. So the idea here is to determine what's going to be done next every single time the player click on this button, all right? So obviously the objective here is to stop the game, right? The reason why, because we're using stop button as our example. So when the player click on this button, obviously what we're going to do is to quit the game, right? So yeah, let's do it. So the first thing that you need to do is to click on this icon. This icon represents script. So for the language, we're going to use GD script. For the template, you have the options. Either you want to start from scratch, you can click on object empty, but I'm gonna go with the first options, default. So we're going to have like the custom code, but we can feel free to change the code if we don't need to. And for the path, it's going to be saved on button GD. Well, actually, we made a mistake here, right? So let's close this tab. But before adding a script to your scene, make sure that you select first scene first, right? So you shouldn't select button, just select first scene and then right click this again. make sure for the path it's supposed to be on first scene.gd. All right, for the template we're gonna stick with default and just click create. Okay, very cool. So we've just created our first script, so I'm just gonna delete these two because we don't need those two functions, and let's click on our button. All right, so just click on node, and we really want to determine what's going to be the next actions every single time the player click on this button. So just go to the base button sections and then click press. Right, so we're going to determine what's going to be the next actions every single time the player press this button or click this button, in other words. So I'm just gonna click press. All right, you can double click it, press, and we want to integrate our logics, our scripts with our buttons, right? So yeah, just click connect. It will automatically add these functions to your script. So I'm just gonna delete this. All right, and I'm going to type in the logic. So obviously, since this is a stop button, we're going to quit the game. We're going to stop the game every single time the player click on that button, right? All right, so I'm just gonna type in the logic. So it's going to be like this: get 3 dot quit, open and close parentheses. All right, so make sure that you end the line of code with open and close parentheses like this. And to save it, if you're on Mac, just press Command S at the same time. If you're on Windows, just press Control S at the same time. Okay, cool. So I've added the logic, and let's test it out to make sure that this logic, this script has been fully integrated to our button. All right. So just save it once again to make sure it has been saved properly, and just click on this run button and click select current. Okay, so now we see this button, the button that we created previously. If you want to click on it, just click on it. Okay, cool. So now it will stop the game. So it means the button is working. Okay, perfect. So let's go back to our Godot engine. So hey guys, that's how you created the button, how you integrate the script to the button. I totally get it. This is very basic, very simple tutorial. We're going to do more advanced stuff in the next videos, especially in our project. Alright, but hopefully this will give you an idea about how it works. And to show you, actually it's not very complicated, right? It's very, very simple. As long as you're paying very close attention to what I'm doing. Okay, cool. So I'll see you guys in the next video, where I'm going to show you a couple different examples of game built using Godot engine, right? So hopefully it's going to get you more motivated to learn and also give you some inspirations about the projects that you want to build. Okay, cool. So I'll see you guys there. What's up guys, welcome back to the course. In this video I'm going to show you a couple examples of games that were built using Godot engine, right? So hopefully this could potentially motivate you even more to learn about this platform and also give you some inspirations. So yeah, let's get started. So hopefully after seeing all these high quality games with high quality traffics, you're going to realize the potentials that this game engine has, how powerful this tool could potentially be, right? So let's get started. So as you guys can see right here is the showcase page of Godot engine. There are like many different types of games they're built using Godot engine. Some of them are 2D games and others are 3D games. So let me pick you an example here, Tail Quest. To be honest with you, I haven't played this game, but I have a friend who already played this game and he told me it's really fun. So look at these very cool graphics, right? Obviously this is 3D game with very high quality graphics. All right, so let's see other game. For example, Road Flash. Look at this. Very interesting. I haven't played this game. It looks like this is action or survival based game where you're shooting, right? Very interesting. And let me show you the game that I already played, Gravity 8. I played this like a couple months ago, right? It has very cool graphics, very high quality graphics, and very fun to play. And if you scroll down all the way to the bottom, you have like coming soon session. So all of these games haven't been released yet, right? But they're planning to release this in the near future. So let's scroll back up. Let's pick one more example. Let's pick the one that is most interesting. Human Diaspora. Yeah, it's science fiction space game. If you're a big fan of science fictions, then you might want to consider to build a game similar to this. Very cool concept, as you guys can see. Very high quality graphics as well, and they sell it on Steam. Just double click on it, not double click, just right click on it. As you guys can see, they sell this game on Steam. Very cool, right? So that's the reason why I told you this game engine has a lot of potentials, because you can create this game for completely free, but you can sell it, and you only need to do it once. You only need to build the game once, and you can sell it many times, right? That's the reason why I told you this game engine has a lot of potentials. So yeah, guys, I think that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video, where I'm going to share some game ideas to build. Right, so I'll see you guys there. What's up, guys, welcome to the course. In this video, I'm going to share 6 different game ideas that you should consider to build. Alright, so I totally get it. Sometimes you are so excited to build your first game project. However, you have no idea what you want to build, right? You have no idea what kind of games that you want to build. So let me give you 6 different ideas that you should consider. So the first one here is zombie survival game. Obviously, there are many different game related to zombie survival. Just an example here, Plant versus Zombie, where you put many different type of plants to protect your properties from zombies, right? So yeah, basically the concept here is the player are fighting to survive from the attack, right? There are like many different concepts, whether you're going to be able to shoot the zombie, or the players can set like the parameters to protect their houses or their properties from the zombies, or many different concepts. Just be as creative as possible, guys. So yeah, that's the first one. Let's move on to the second one here, jungle adventure. So in this case, the players will need to find a way out from the jungle. So let's say the player is trapped in the middle of nowhere. Let's say the player is trapped in the middle of the jungle, and the main mission here is to get out from the jungle, right? So the player is going to work really hard to find a strategy to get out from the jungle. So that's going to be like the most challenging part of this game, right? So if you go to Google and then type in jungle adventure, or maybe jungle survival games, there are like many different type of games available that you can use as an example, right? Obviously, you still need to be as creative as possible. You shouldn't just copy and paste the same concept, right? You need to come up with your own idea, but you can use like all of these games as your inspirations. You can use all of these existing games, as your inspirations, and you can combine it with your own ideas and then build a better one. So yeah, that's the second one. Let's move on to the third one here, tower defense. So the concept here is the players have to fight to protect and defend their towers, right? So maybe the players can deploy their army, their soldiers in front of these towers to fight, or maybe they set like a cannon so they can shoot the enemy, something like that. So if you go to Google, there are like many different games related to tower defense, but one of the most popular one, and also the one that I played like a couple years ago, is Kingdom Rush, right? So if you guys can see, they have like a tower here, and then the enemy is coming to attack their tower. So the main duty is to defend your tower at all costs, right? You can set up a cannon, you can shoot them from the tower. So there are many different things that the player can potentially do, right? So I think this concept is also worth to consider, but obviously you shouldn't just copy and paste the same concept. You need to come up with your own ideas and combine it with the existing games. So yeah, that's how you do it, guys. I'm just gonna close these tabs. There are too many tabs. So let's go back to our slide. The fourth one here is creature evolution. So the concept here is the player need to breed and evolve their creatures to fight their enemies. So let's say you're going to play against your enemy, and you're going to breed your creature, right? So you're going to make evolutions. So I think it's going to be very fun because you're going to be competing with your enemies, right? So if your enemies is able to breed and evolve his or her creature to a very strong creature, then obviously you're going to lose, right? So you're going to be at constant competitions with your enemies to breed and also evolve your creature as quick as possible, and make sure that your new creature is going to be very strong and be able to defeat the enemy. And the next one here is science fiction's mission. Obviously, there are like many different type of games related to science fiction, sci-fi. However, the concept is pretty much the same. You know, the players have to team up to accomplish an important missions. Many different type of games. So if you go to Google, just type in sci-fi games. Many different type of games. Obviously, some of them are related to aliens. Some of them are related to like outer space, right? Or maybe like moon landing. Just be as creative as possible, guys. Be as innovative as possible. And the last one here is farming competitions. I think I like it. I like it so much. So the concept is the players can cultivate crops or raise magical creatures and embark on quests to restore balance to the land. So what examples, like you're acting like the owner of that farm, and you're going to be responsible for this supply of food, right? The supply of crops. So you need to make sure that your village run properly by providing the right amount of supplies of foods that your people need. Just one of many examples that you can consider. All right, guys, so I think that's it. That's all for this slide. I'll see you guys in the next video. We're going to start building our first project. Okay, so I really hope you guys got more excited after seeing all these game ideas, and maybe you can come up with your own idea